talk about the 49ers substation. I'm not super interested necessarily in the topic itself, but I'm a podcaster who is trying to get views and get clicks and get likes and get attention to their channel. And this is a topic amongst 49ers fans, amongst the NFL, that is right now very popular. Now, I am not qualified at all to talk about this. This is why I've been avoiding it for so long, because it's the topic of the 49ers substation, right? That right next to their practice facilities, and how electromagnetic fields can affect the injuries of players, the muscles of players. And I'm going to, before I get into my main points of this video, I'm going to share with you guys a podcast that I would go and listen to. And again, if you're a follower of the show, you will know that I am a big Grant Cohn fan. Shout out to him. And he had an interview it was 2 days ago, and it was with a electromagnetic scientist, some scientist that kind of specializes in the field. And I would go back. I mean, I would encourage you guys to go back and listen to it. It's an hour long. And she shed a lot of light of how electromagnetic fields can affect muscles, players, affect how players recover, affect how athletes can recover, and being in a vicinity of an electromagnetic field like the 49ers practice fields can affect their recovery, especially recovery. It's really all about recovery, and how obviously if you're not recovering correctly, then you're going to get injured. And so I'm not going to go into too much detail about what that podcast said, but she confirms that it absolutely probably is a problem for the Niners and this team. And so with that being said, because a couple weeks ago when, obviously it's been gaining traction for a while, but a couple weeks ago, it's like, I was thinking, well, I'm not even going to talk about this topic because it's a topic that it's not really been proven. But now if you talk to a lot of scientists, and I've been just doing a lot of research, you talk to a lot of scientists and they all say, yeah, it probably is a big deal. And it's a big deal that the 49ers have known about for a while, because apparently years ago, they tried to get the electrical substation moved years ago. And then it just didn't end up working out, and both parties dismissed it. The 49ers dismissed it. The companies dismissed it. So what I'm going to say, I'm not going to make this video too long, but what I'm going to say on this issue, on this topic, I think there's one of three ways that it could go. The Niners try to fix it and do basically what I mean fix it is they do some researches. They need to, what I would currently suggest for the 49ers to do is they need to get scientific advice, hire the best guys, the best scientists that you can, go diagnose the situation and figure out whether or not it is a problem. If it is a problem, then you move practice facilities for the time being, right? Until that problem can be solved out, or maybe just move practice facilities permanently. Because I don't think the electrical substation, from what I've gathered, it will take millions and millions of dollars to move, and you obviously can't move your stadium. So they need to do damage control in the next month and a half, because free agency is coming up. It's March 16th is free agency, around then. So within the next 6 weeks, they need to do damage control, because who was it who said, Trey McBride was on an interview and said, or was on Radio Row now at the Super Bowl, and was asked about and said, free agents, this is going to affect them in free agency. Players aren't going to want to sign with the Niners, whether it's true or not, whether this affects player injuries or not. Players aren't going to take the risk. So the Niners need to do damage control before free agency, because if this affects your free agency, I mean, this is a big deal. And it's a deal that the Yorks can't push under the rug. Jed York, in an interview like 2 days ago, was like, or 3 days ago, was like, he kind of dismissed it. He said, it wasn't a problem back in the 1980s when we first had the electrical substation, and it isn't a problem now. And anyway, he dismissed it. And if you guys go back and look at that interview, is the reasons that he gave was just a bunch of horse garbage. But anyway, so they need to do damage control, get a little bit more evidence on it before free agency. My concern with that is it going to take just 6 weeks to conduct these experiments and really get hardcore evidence and hardcore backing that this is an actual issue? Like, I feel like for science like this and tests like this is going to take a lot more than 6 weeks. So saying, oh, they need to do damage control and try to figure this out in the next six weeks is a rich ask, because I feel like science like this is going to take, and tests like this is going to take a lot longer. The simple solution, I think, is just move the practice facilities for this season while they can run tests. And if it proves that it doesn't affect the players, and science proves that it doesn't affect the players, whatever, then you can move back. But I think that's the simple solution. Just move the practice facilities, because God knows you do not want it to affect your chances of signing free agencies. So that was a long-winded answer of kind of giving the first pathway. The second pathway is they don't do anything, leading to potential unsignings in free agency. We already talked about that a little bit. The third pathway is the Yorks push this under the table, which they've been currently doing, and next year they sell the team. And then once they sell the team, the new owner can move this facility if he's a little bit more responsible, like the Yorks. But I mean, they've already been selling off parts of their team in the last couple of years, so maybe they just sell the entire team next year. So yeah, really 3 pathways that this can go. But I mean, they're facing an interesting, because a couple weeks ago, it's like, okay, this wasn't that big deal. Now it's really picked up steam. And it's like, well, now you're in a rock and a hard place, because if you don't do anything and push it under the rugs, you're going to be losing free agents that you could potentially sign. And this is a big free agency. And the second thing is, if you do something, then, potential lawsuits, because if players hear that, oh, this has been a big deal and I've been getting injured because of this, soft tissue injuries because of this, then, I mean, hell, maybe lawsuits. Compensation for players has to ensue. And you might have to move practice facilities. So it's a tough situation that the owners are in. Hopefully, for the sake of my team, this all works out in the next 6 weeks. So we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see for sure.